Hello Chasitopians, and welcome back to my channel. You guys already know when I'm sounding a little bit somber, it means we're talking about something more serious, more emotional, and I don't want to be too, perky and cheerful on a video where I'm talking about feelings and emotions and going through things. But definitely don't think that this is like a damper type video. Like, it's definitely a useful, resourceful video that I'm gonna make for you guys that was just on my heart this week, and I am going to try my best not to cry. I have my tissues right here. It is gonna be a more emotional video, but I'm gonna do my best not to cry. Nonetheless, before I get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel down below. I love you guys so much, and let's hop into this topic. Today I'm going to be talking about death in the family, more specifically death of a parent, because personally this is something that I have experienced, and let me tell you the truth. I went to a funeral today, and it was for a really good family friend. She was well loved, she was amazing, awesome. It was a beautiful celebration of life for a beautiful person, and it just got me thinking, like, I never really processed the grief of my own parents passing, and I just thought I should make a video about it because there might be somebody else out there who's like in the midst of all this and really going through it. And I say I haven't processed it. I've been living in it for the last 4 years, but I never really sat down with myself and was like, hey, we got to get through this. It's hindering us, and it shouldn't hinder you, but it's the death of a parent. Like, there's no hurt like the death of your parent. And I just wanted to make this video to go through it with you guys and go through it with myself and just really talk about this topic that nobody seems to want to talk about. A little background, my dad passed away 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago, in March of 2017. It was 2 weeks after I turned 18 and 2 months before I graduated from high school. So it was a crazy time for me, and just not a good time for my dad to pass away. Not that any time would have been good for him to pass away, but it was just so much going on at that time that I was celebrating and getting ready for, and it's just like there was no way to expect that this was coming. And that made it even more difficult to to process, because it happened so quickly. It was very hard to process that had happened. And even at the funeral, it was still just unbelievable. And this heavy burden that I carry around from day to day in my life, and I don't know what to do with it, so I just hold it all the time. It changed my life. My dad was everything for me. And I know a lot of little girls who look up to their fathers, and I definitely looked up to my dad. My dad meant everything to me, and it was very difficult to try and get through his death, and I'm still struggling from day to day to get through his death. But I wanted to make this video to talk about the 5 stages of grief and how I went through each stage, what each stage is, and where I am now, and maybe you can figure out where you are and make more progress towards the last stage, which is, acceptance, and how to cope and move forward. The first step of grief is denial. And for me, it was very much denial, and I'll tell you why. My dad, at the end of his life, was going through a lot, going through so much, had so many demons that he was facing and that he was fighting, and he wasn't, he wasn't home with us. He was currently staying out with friends, but he was in and out the house, and for me, that means he comes back when he comes back. And for me to sit in the house after he passed away and think, oh, maybe he's coming back. Maybe he just ran down the street. Maybe he ran to the gas station. Maybe he's just taking a walk, like he's coming back. And that was so difficult because my dad was already in and out. I'm thinking, okay, he'll be back soon. He'll be back soon. And I just denied that he is gone. He can't be gone. What? He can't possibly be gone. But he was. He's gone. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think I'm partially still in that phase, but I'm partially like, okay, he is gone. He's not coming back. Even though it's been 4 years, it still seems like he's gonna walk through the door at any minute with that big smile on his face and just embrace us all, and he's not. And I think I'm still partially in that phase of denial, even though it's been 4 years. It's hard to shake it, especially when you're with somebody every single day of your life. You see somebody every single day of your life. You talk to them on the phone. It's difficult, it's hard, and it's tough to actually sit down with yourself and be like, wow, this person's gone. I'm never gonna see this person again. Well, in my case, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and I believe I will see him again. But it's hard imagining that when you're on this earth, when you're in an earthly place, and when you're having a worldly worldview instead of a, hopeful and eternal worldview. It's very hard to just imagine never seeing that person again. How did I get through denial? My faith, my belief. I have this hope that one day I will see him again. And that's what I believe, that's what I affirm, that's what helps me wake up in the morning. Because it's such a tough thing to go through, losing my dad, and the only way I got through was with God and with the hope and belief that I will see him again one day. And that's how I got through that denial. Yes, he's gone from his earthly home. He has exited this earth, but he lives on in eternity, and I will see him again. That brings me comfort, that brings me joy, and that's what I need. If you don't have that same hope as me, I would encourage you to find something that brings you comfort in that denial. Just find something to cling to instead of clinging to that person, because the more you cling to that person, the more it's going to be hard for you to differentiate between reality and imagination. Finding that comfort and peace is the most important part of getting out of that denial stage. The next stage in grieving, as you all know, is anger. And anger will have a hold on you. It will drag you down. It will want to kill you. Anger is something serious, and it's something that you really have to fight and work hard to get through. I was angry. I was so angry. I was angry at God. I said, God, why would you take my dad from me? I was angry at my mom. I was angry at my brother and sister. I was just angry at everybody. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody was grieving in their own way. I didn't understand it. I was angry at everyone, and I just wanted my dad back. And to get through that anger, again, I had to hold on to that hope. And that hope is that I'm gonna see him again one day. I would literally pull over on the side of the street and I would scream and I would beat on the dashboard and I would just have a meltdown because I just really wanted my dad back, and I was just angry that he's not here anymore. I was angry that he was gone, and I had to hold on to other people. I had to let other people into my life to help me deal with that anger and cling to what I do have and remember how truly blessed I am. You guys, remember I did a whole video about being grateful? I had to remember what I still have. I still have my mama. I still have my brother and sister. I still have my grandparents. I still have my friends, my boyfriend. I still have all of that stuff. Regardless, I miss my dad. I miss my dad. Nothing is ever gonna replace my dad, but you still have to look around you and think, oh my God, I'm so grateful for the things that I do still have. And remembering that really helped me get through the anger part, because I started to lean more on love and lean less on anger. If you take all that energy that you put into being angry and put it into love, it just transforms you from the inside out. Like, you learn how to be happy again. Loving people, being loved, love in general, it'll change your life. And I really encourage you guys to lean into love, because it's just so powerful, and sharing love with others and being in love is just a beautiful thing. And I think that everybody needs love. I'm not gonna lie, I did therapy a lot. I still do therapy a lot to get through this anger, because I'm just so angry. And now my anger has kind of mellowed out into just, I miss you, just straight I miss you, just sorrow, just deep, deep sorrow. And I'm gonna get to that a little later. I'm gonna talk about the fourth stage, but it's just a deep sorrow and a deep longing for my father, and deep longing for my dad, because he's not here. I want him to be here. I'm going through so many wonderful things. He would be so proud of me for, not giving up on my life. I know my dad would just be so proud, and it's hard. He's not here. He wasn't here to help me move into my first apartment. He's not gonna be here to see me graduate college. He wasn't here to see me graduate high school. He didn't see my senior prom. And it's just a deep sorrow and a longing for them to see. But then I think about it, I'm just like, he can see me. He's here. He's around me, and that his love transcends time and space and all that. And he's here around me, and I know that he's looking down upon me and that he's proud. The third stage of grieving is bargaining, and I'm sure you guys know about bargaining. It's,
oh well, God, if you just give me 3 more minutes with my dad, I will turn my entire life around.
When you're grieving something, you're always gonna have that regret, but there's no going back. You have to remember that you can only move forward. So when you start bargaining, it's kind of like, number one, I think of it as disrespect towards creation, because everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. Somebody told me, my boss told me, you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now in this moment. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, and everything happens for a reason. God is putting you in a place where you're supposed to be right now, whether you have to learn a lesson or you're prospering, whatever you are, that's exactly where you're supposed to be, and you need it for the greater picture, the bigger picture. And I sometimes think, why would God do something so drastic to my life? And it's because this last 4 years I've had to go on a journey to find myself. I don't know who I am anymore. And a lot of people, they tell me to find my identity in God, and it's been difficult. It's been very difficult, especially when things like this, like drastic changes, drastic deaths, drastic anything goes on in my life. It's very hard to look to God and be like, I trust you, because I trusted you and you took my dad away from me. You took this person, you took that, you took this. It's hard to trust him in that moment, but you have to know that every single one of us is exactly where we're supposed to be in this very moment. For me personally, the bargaining stage, it didn't take up that much time for me. It wasn't this big bold thing in the middle of grieving. I didn't really bargain because we had a good last exchange of words. It was a beautiful thing. He definitely left on a good note as far as with me. There's a funny story actually. He was outside and I was trying to make him some food or something, but I went out and I said, I can't make the food. Mom doesn't want me to cook for you, because they were in the middle of something. But I started crying because I couldn't help him in the way that I wanted to. And he reached out to me and he just grabbed me and hugged me. He said, you're always gonna be my princess, my baby, and nothing is ever gonna come in between us. And that is what I hold on to. In those moments of denial, in those moments of anger, in those moments of frustration, I hold on to that last conversation we had. And because of that last conversation, I don't really have any regrets with my dad. I mean, I wish I had spent less time trying to change him and fix him and more time loving him for who he was, but I don't have any major regrets when it comes to my dad. I wish he was here. That's mostly it for me. I wish he was here to see everything. I don't bargain like, oh God, if I could just go back to this day one time, because I don't really have any regrets as far as my dad. I don't even remember anything bad that he did. It's like it's all been wiped away. If you are bargaining, definitely find a way to deal with that, because bargaining can be difficult. Bargaining can get dangerous, and I think my hope of God is what has really helped me not bargain. You can definitely make dangerous deals with the other side, and I'm so serious when I'm talking about this. Demons are so real, so be careful when you're talking about, I wish I could do this one more time, I wish I could have this one more time, because demons are listening. They're always listening. They're always around you, and you just have to be very careful and remember the good things. Remember the best parts of the person that you're missing, especially if it was your parents. Just remember the best parts of them and maybe apply them to your life. That's kind of what I do. I kind of am like, I know who my dad was, and I want to be just like that. I want people to remember me just like that. His funeral was packed with people. I want to be loved the way my dad was loved, and I want to love others the way my dad loved others. And that helps me to avoid bargaining and trying to bring him back, because I know that I can continue to carry on his legacy as myself. The fourth stage of grief, and this is probably where I am most frequently, because I kind of flip-flop back and forth between this one and denial, but I'm probably right here, right now. The fourth stage is depression. And depression can be a lot of things. We know this. Mental health is very important. Depression can be so many different things. It can be sadness, it can be sorrow, it can be anxiety, it can be fear of the future, fear of the past. It's very, very tangled up and jumbled. But for me, depression means just overwhelming sorrow, overwhelming sadness. I think the depression phase might last the longest for me, honestly, because I'll always have that sorrow in my heart where it's like, if dad could see me, I wish dad could see me. I wish dad could see RJ. It's just a hurt for everyone, not just myself. I wish he were here. Definitely go get therapy for that depression. Go get help. Go talk to someone, whether it's in the ministry, whether it's outside the ministry, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, whoever you need to talk to, and feel it. Be in the moment. Feel those emotions. That's so important, to feel those emotions, because a lot of people push those emotions to the side. I did it for about 6 months maybe after my dad died, and it just completely backfired. I went and I screwed up my whole entire life, flipped it upside down. You have to feel those emotions. And I know a lot of times in the church it's always, oh well, there's hope. And that's what I've been saying this whole video, because I'm kind of past the point where I'm like detrimentally affected by my dad's death. Like, I'm still affected by it. Like, I cry about it all the time, but like, I've been in it long enough to know that it's not the end of the world, and I still have so much life to live for myself and for my family. And it's hard in the beginning when church people are pushing it down your throat that there's hope and there's joy in the morning. And it's very difficult, not just church people, but just people in general, when they're just like, oh, well, he's in heaven now, he's here. Like, but it's hard. I need to cry. I need to be devastated. I need to break things. And if you need to do that, then do that, because this is your grieving process and everybody grieves differently. I love to talk about it. I love to express myself. I like to write songs about it. I'll tell anybody my dad passed away. It helps me cope. My brother and sister, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They want to remember my dad for how he was and remember they love him, and that's it. Everybody grieves differently, and don't let people overwhelm you with that hope. Still hang on to that hope, especially if you know it deep down in your heart you have that hope, but don't use that hope as a mask, because it's only gonna be detrimental to you. That's what I did. I used that hope as a mask. I just feel like I carried it so emotionally. That's what I'm saying. I didn't physically carry it, but on my back, but I carried so much emotions. I didn't process my own stuff because I was trying to be strong and I was trying to put on a brave face, and that was very dangerous for me. Like I said, I'm in the 4th stage. I don't know how I got on that tangent, but I'm in the 4th stage, which is depression, and I'm getting through it. I'm managing, I'm working on it, and I'm actively fighting to live another day every day. And I just am so proud of myself, because there was a lot of moments where I wish I had just given up, where I could have just given up, but I kept going. And I know that my dad would be proud of me for where I am, and I know that he will want to be here to celebrate all this with me, and that he is looking down on me, and that he loves me very much. And I know that I'm gonna carry his name as far as I can take it, because that's what I want to do for him. I want to make a legacy, and I want to live a beautiful life for my dad, for me too, but for my dad, because he didn't get to finish his. So I want to make sure that I finish it. I want to make sure that I run this race the fastest and the hardest I can, and to never give up, because that's who he taught me how to be. The 5th stage is acceptance. And I don't know what that looks like. I'm not there yet. And maybe someone else is. I'm thinking about, doing another part 2 to this and finding someone else who's lost a parent or something like that, and they've gotten to the point of acceptance, because I don't know what that looks like. I think I'm always going to miss my dad deep down inside. I think I'm always going to have that need, that want for him to be here, just longing for him to be here. But I'm not sure what acceptance looks like. If you know what acceptance looks like, would you comment down below and let me know? Because I want to know what acceptance looks like. There's so much swirling around in my head, so many emotions. I know one day I will reach that point where I'm just happy again. I haven't gotten to that point yet of acceptance. I know that there's a greater mission for me ahead. I know that I'm here for a reason. I know that my dad will be proud of me, but I can't get to that place of acceptance yet. I think acceptance is really cool. I think it's an awesome thing to believe in and look forward to. But right now I just need to lead my emotions a little bit more and just feel this whole thing and let it run its course, and just, find out what else is in this for me. Find out, what's the purpose behind this whole bigger plot that I can't see yet. I know acceptance may not be this big, huge epiphany, but I'm hoping that acceptance feels like, wow, understanding. I don't know what I really expected for this video. I know I started out really somber, and now I don't feel as somber. I feel like I've really talked through this, and I feel comfortable. I don't know if that's the right word, but I feel good that I got that off my chest, going through those stages and really talking about where I was in each one, and where I still am, and where I struggle daily, and just living in this grief cycle, but not dying in this grief cycle. I think that's the most exciting part, is that we get to go through the grief cycle, but we don't have to stay in it forever. There's hope in that grief cycle for me, and I hope that you find that same hope that I have every single day, because that's the will to live. That is the will to wake up in the morning and start a new day and be fresh and just enjoy the life that's in front of me while I still have it. Let me know down below what this video meant to you. If you felt anything from this video, if you want to talk about what stage of grief you're in, anything you want to talk about is perfectly fine. Drop it down in the comments. I always respond. I'm always on my phone. Even if I'm in the middle of something, I will literally pause and respond to you. And I usually heart and like comments. Just, I just want this to be a really genuine video, because losing someone is not easy. Losing a parent is far from easy, and I think it's something I want to talk about more, because it's always on my mind. I'm always going through something, dealing with my dad and trying to deal with that place of losing him. I just think it's important that we have this big old discussion about losing a parent, losing someone close to you in general. And if you guys want to talk about anything, just let me know down in the comments. I love you guys so very much. I just embrace anyone who's lost a parent. I know how that feels. I love you guys so very much. I know I already said it, but I just do. I love you guys so much. You're so supportive. You're so great. And I am just so happy to be here on my channel, spreading the love and talking about real stuff, and just engaging my feelings. I think that's so important to engage your feelings and release and let go and not dwell. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel down below. I love you guys very much again, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, month, year, life. Enjoy it. Enjoy every moment. Soak up that sun and do the damn thing. Adios, Chasitopians. Mwah!